Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to explore those complex ideas, break them down, find some clarity, maybe some practical takeaways for you. Today we're diving into something I think a lot of us feel, but maybe don't always put a name to. The rat race.
Yeah, that pervasive sense of just endless pursuit, like being stuck on a hamster wheel in modern life.
For this deep dive, we're looking at insights from a YouTube video transcript. It's called The Rat Race Explained Life's Financial Trap. And our mission, really, is to unpack what this rat race thing actually is, how it kind of subtly pulls us in. And maybe most importantly, is there a way out, a practical way? We're hoping for some, moments of recognition, maybe even an aha moment for you listening.
Exactly. And we want to go a bit deeper than just the surface symptoms. We're trying to uncover the patterns, the implications, maybe help you get a clearer view of your own path and the choices you're making or could make.
Okay, so let's start right there. The big question. What is the rat race, according to the source material we're looking at?
Well, the video actually mentions the Wikipedia definition. It calls the rat race an endless, self-defeating, or pointless pursuit. And the key things seem to be competitiveness and constant comparison, always, striving against other people, or maybe this ideal you have in your head.
Always measuring up.
Right. And what's often missed, I think, isn't just the chase itself, but the psychological loop it creates. It kind of tricks us into thinking the next promotion, the next purchase. That will be the thing that brings real satisfaction. But often it just moves the goalposts,
Yeah, resets the finish line. So how does this whole cycle typically start? The transcript mentions it often kicks in sometime after college, get that first job right, pays okay, enough to start buying those things you dreamed about in college. Maybe it was, huge TV. The video jokes about a 72-inch or even a 152-inch one. You get it, enjoy it for a bit, and then what? There's always the next thing, isn't there? A car, maybe a nicer place.
Exactly. It signifies this escalating commitment. And at work, it looks like endless competition. You want to get ahead. You start in a cubicle, maybe, then you edge out your peers, get an office. Then you're competing with the other office people for the corner office. You get that, and suddenly the stakes are higher again. You're looking at the floor above.
Yeah.
It just keeps going all the way up to the boardroom, potentially. It really is, as the source puts it, a journey of competition with no particular end in sight. Always pushing for more, which means you implicitly need more.
Wow. Okay, this next part, I found this really interesting. The video puts a human face on it with this story about two college friends, Steve and Angela. They sound like typical students, Same business class, liked numbers, got decent grades, and they partied hard, pulled all-nighters. But the thing that stood out was these monthly Scrabble games they cherished, with heated political discussions. Sounds like that was their real downtime, their connection.
Yeah, a time of real enjoyment. But despite that shared past and, promising to keep in touch like everyone does, the video shows how, after graduating, both of them, kind of without really noticing, just slipped into the rat race.
And those Scrabble games.
He started fading away, life got in the way.
So for Steve,
Yeah.
his story sounds pretty familiar. Friends start dropping out of their hangouts, like Chris has a baby, Julie gets a promotion and moves. Then Steve's life changes too. Gets married, gets promoted to department head. And suddenly that old secondhand car doesn't feel right anymore with the new title. So, new car.
The image.
Exactly. Then his wife gets pregnant, so they need a bigger house. Then, a second car makes sense. Start a college fund. Got to invest in stocks. And he's always complaining, right, that every year expenses magically get higher.
Yeah, that feeling of never quite catching up.
So what does he do? He works even harder. And the video says, the monthly Scrabble game was long forgotten as he was now playing in the game of life.
Yeah. And Angela's path, well, it looked different on the surface, but the outcome, in terms of this rat race idea, was similar. For her, it was all about the career, getting ahead. She planned her days to the minute, super self-disciplined.
Right.
And it worked. She clanked fast, beat department heads, then other managers, got a managing director role, even jumped companies for more money. But the cost, relationships. The video notes she did not spend much time with them, found it hard to sustain any other relationships away from work. The career became everything.
Okay, so fast forward, 20 years after college. Steve's sitting in his car, about to go into a meeting, and it just hits him. All the weariness of the rat race crashing onto him. Career's gone okay, investments are doing well, but he's not happy.
No.
His marriage is on the rocks. He realizes he never really spent time with his kids. He's just tired. Tired of trying to get ahead with no end in sight. Tired of the same repetitive job over and over again. The grind. And he just wishes he was back in college, getting wasted, playing Scrabble and trashing Play-Doh.
Yeah.
It's such a relatable feeling, that exhaustion. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many people listening have felt that exact same thing?
It's powerful. So in that moment, he actually calls the old Scrabble squad. Lots of people said they'd come, apparently, but in the end, only Angela showed up.
Wow. Just Angela.
Yeah. And they had this really deep conversation asking themselves, are we happy? Is there an end to all this striving? Or is it just pointless?
Steve sounds pretty frustrated by it all. He feels like there has to be a better way to live.
Yeah, he's looking for an alternative. Angela, though, she's initially a bit more maybe resigned. For her, the rat race, well, it fed her, clothed her, paid for rare and expensive vacations. It sort of made her as happy as it could within that system. But and this is the key thing. She admitted she had come to absolutely hate her job and its repetitive nature.
Ah, okay. So even with the perks, the core of it wasn't fulfilling anymore. That's the turning point.
Exactly. That dissatisfaction was the catalyst.
So what happens next? Angela gets home that night, and she thinks, okay, I need to examine if there was a different way. The video calls her process the audit. She asks herself these 3 fundamental questions to figure out if she's really trapped. First, is there an end in sight for her career path?
Yeah.
Just more climbing.
Endless.
Second, was her career and life characterized by competition? And she's like, tremendously. And third, was it characterized by comparison? Enough that she felt, yeah, this is a concern. It sounds like a really practical checklist, actually.
It does, a way to self-diagnose. So her next move was exploring alternatives. She wanted out. She needed another income source, right? She thought about it and realized, okay, besides numbers, the only other thing she was remotely interested in was, like, occasionally drawing and painting.
Okay, so not exactly a direct career link there.
Not obvious, no.
So her exploration of the alternative starts. She decides to, get this, extend her work hours at home.
Yeah.
But using that extra time for drawing and painting, which sounds kind of nuts, right? Work more to escape the grind.
Seems counterintuitive, yeah.
But the video explains why it worked for her. It says it actually relaxed Angela. She felt good just doing something she was exploring, something that wasn't tied to her income yet. It wasn't about pressure. It was about exploration.
That shift in motivation seems crucial.
Yeah, and that's how she was slowly getting out of the rat race. Not overnight, but changing the nature of how she spent her time, shifting from external demands to something internal.
And another really critical step for her was figuring out needs versus luxuries. This is key. She went through her expenses and started cutting back on the luxuries. Things like, okay, maybe reasonable cost vacations instead of super expensive ones.
Makes sense.
More functional clothes. Realizing, hey, she didn't particularly need a chauffeur, she could drive herself. By cutting those things, she lowered her baseline income need, which obviously made leaving her high-stress job a much more realistic possibility much sooner.
Ah, that's smart, reducing the financial pressure. So, what about Steve? Did he manage to follow a similar path? Sadly, no. The video says he just couldn't escape his fears of the loss of income, that competitive nature he had.
Hard to switch off.
Right, and that need to be like his peers, the comparison thing again. It all held him back. He just kept sort of hoping for happiness later, fantasizing about retiring someday to his small fishing village, always pushing it off.
Whereas Angela took that patient approach, changing small aspects of her life bit by bit, and really internalizing that idea that happiness is not a future goal. It is to be achieved now. That mindset shift was probably just as important as the practical steps.
Absolutely. And it worked for her. 2 years later, the story goes, she uses her old corporate contacts, smart, to start her own thing, her own design studio in school. She's running it, managing it, projecting profitability soon.
Fantastic.
And the point is, she'll soon have the choice to either run the business or hire someone else. She basically did it. She escaped. Started living life on her own terms. That's the goal, isn't it?
That's the dream for many, yeah. In this story, Steve and Angela, it's presented as just a simple example, but it reflects what a lot of people face.
Yeah.
So many people do end up, as the video puts it, slaving away most of their prime years working for a paycheck.
Yeah.
But the hopeful note, the bigger picture takeaway, is that maybe you don't necessarily have to follow this path anymore, especially now with all the new opportunities out there. The video mentions things like online business, e-commerce stores, blogs, social media influencers, affiliate marketers.
Right, the whole digital landscape.
Exactly. The barriers to creating your own path, maybe they're lower than they used to be.
So the core idea we're getting from this source, this deep dive, is really about taking control, isn't it? Taking your financial future into your own hands and actively trying to design a life that isn't just that constant, endless chase.
Precisely. Which I think leads to a really important question for you listening right now. Building on Angela's journey, how can you start to identify your own potential rat race? Those things you pursue that feel endless, maybe overly competitive, or driven mostly by comparing yourself to others?
Yeah. What does that look like in your life?
And once you see them, how could you maybe begin exploring alternatives, things that prioritize what actually fulfills you, your personal choices, rather than just the external chase? It's worth reflecting on, I think. What does a truly pointless pursuit mean for you, and what small steps could you take, starting now, perhaps?
That is a powerful thought to end on. Something definitely worth mulling over as you navigate your own journey. We really hope this deep dive offered some useful perspective, maybe a fresh angle on the paths ahead of you. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep trying to build that life on your own terms.